Hello, it is April 21st. It's right after lunch in Virginia, so it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is going to be titled Grace. I wanted to talk to you about some stuff that many people didn't know about me, and I feel like I had put it in my book that I haven't gotten published yet, and I don't know when I'm going to get it published. So I wanted to share it, and hopefully it blesses you or it helps you with whatever you're dealing with. So starting with affirmations: you are awesome, you are amazing, you're wonderful, you're joyful, you're a joy to have. God loves you. I can love you. You are unique. Just let people know that, even when I don't make videos often anymore, I'm tired, I've got a lot of things going on. Just affirm people, how awesome they are and how wonderful they are and how much you like them, and give them positive encouragement even if you can't stand them, and just see how far it goes. So I'm going to try, hopefully, not to get past my 30-minute time, because my phone drives me nuts when I go past 30 minutes. But anyway, this one, again, I believe is about grace. And we all need grace. Every one of us needs grace. And the cool thing about grace is it comes from Jesus, and he loves us because he loves us. So one of the things that I saw was Ephesians 2:8 and 9. By grace we are saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is a gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. So, I did a deep dive into this grace thing, and one of the things I was like, okay, so I get that I was saved by grace. Everybody, most of us that I'm talking to is saved by grace. Maybe not all of you, but most of us. It's not of yourselves. It's a gift of God. Now, one thing I want to tell you is that God knows human hearts. He knows that we are very quick to judge. And if it was up to us as human beings, how many people would be going to heaven? I mean, think about it. How many people do you judge in a day? I went through a terrible time a couple of months ago, about a year and a half ago, of people just judging everything, judging that I could no longer walk, judging that I could no longer do this, judging that this was this way, and judging this, that. And it was driving me batty, and I was really struggling with it. And even down to judging my dad. He's been gone since 2001, might I add. I got into judging my brother. I mean, how could he be going to heaven, my oldest brother, after all the things he did? But God and I had some conversations, and one of them was about this faith and about grace, and how it is a gift from God. It's not a gift from me. Christy did not give the gift of grace. Thank heavens, because the people that I have in my life, many of them would not be going to heaven if it was my grace. But it was God's grace. It was by his grace that I am saved. It is by his grace that my dad is saved. It is by his grace that my brothers were both saved. It is by his grace that my mom is saved. It is by his grace, not by mine. It is not mine, because I wouldn't let any of it happen. It is by his grace. That's one thing we've really got to hold on to. So when all throughout Scripture, God and Jesus alone talk about how they don't want us to judge. Please don't judge. That's what it keeps saying constantly, from Genesis all the way through Revelations. It talks about one verse after the next about not judging a person. Don't judge people. Don't judge people. Don't judge people. Constantly. But you know what? I hear more and more stories, especially Christians. Christians are so fast to judge. And that's why a lot of people don't become Christian, because they don't want to hear the judgment. They feel like they're hypocrites when they judge. And I'll get into that a little bit further. But think about it. Next time you go to judge somebody, think really hard about it. Are you judging them because you disagree with something they say, something they do? Look at your own life. Are you perfect? Probably not. Probably not. So it says all throughout Scripture that you can judge the wrongful activity, but don't judge the person. And I think that's a lot of Christians have a really hard time doing. They tend to judge the people and decide that grace didn't save them, they did, or they didn't, and they're going to hell. So, with all of this said, I wanted to talk to you about something that I had placed in a book, but since I don't have my books coming up, most of you don't know about it. So, my dad, I went through grief share and all that stuff at church, and I was talking to one lady one time, and I was just like, my dad committed suicide. He's going to hell. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that, might I add. People just assume that you're at your end of your life and you just committed suicide, and so of course you're going to hell because you can't change it. But it doesn't say anything about it. So I'm not saying go out and commit suicide. Don't get me wrong on that. He was an alcoholic. Majority of the people I know will tell you that alcoholics aren't going to heaven. He was a homosexual. Most people don't know about that. But I know a lot of people who are saying that homosexuals don't go to heaven, even if they believe in God. My dad wasn't perfect. He had a lot of problems. But he was saved. I'm going to say it. He was saved by grace. Yes, he was saved by grace. I believe that when I die, my dad is going to be in heaven because of two reasons. One, he was saved by grace. And I know for a fact he was saved by grace because he used to talk to me about God all the time. My dad was molested as a child. He was molested by both his father and his stepfather. Then he went into the service by the time he was 17. And he served in the end of the Korean War, as well as the first part of their freedom and all of that. And I want to say he was in the military for almost seven to 10 years, somewhere around that time frame. One of his officers above him found out that he was gay, and I know him and another guy got into it. I'm not sure what happened to the other guy, but I do know that his head officer, decided that he said, "Hey, Bob, if you want to keep this quiet, you pay me $2,000 a year, and I will keep it quiet." Well, not many people know that, and I didn't know that actually until he died. But he was manipulated to pay $2,000. So my aunts and my uncles and my mom, especially, even now, will talk about how my dad just threw away money and how he got rid of it really bad, and he had gambling addiction, and nowhere in any of his notes do I have that he had a gambling addiction. I do have a lot of notes in his stuff about how he got thousands of dollars from flipping houses and other things, and then it disappeared, and I couldn't figure it out. And my aunt and I were talking one day, and he said that the guy in the military, he actually called my aunt when my dad died, demanding money. And my aunt was like, "No, I'm not giving you any money. I'm going to take you to court if that's where it goes, but I'm not going to give you anything." So my dad had to pay this man $2,000. Now, back in the 50s, $2,000 was a lot of money. So you got to think about that. So if you're looking at this and you're part of my family and you've ever said that, now you know where his money went. His money went to somebody who was telling him that if he did not give them $2,000 a year, then he would blab to the whole world that my dad was a homosexual. And that's the last thing that my dad wanted, was for the world to know that he was a homosexual. My dad was a head deacon in our church. He was the head, now they would be called a minister of music. Back then it was just the head of, or the director of music in our church. He had a beautiful voice. I remember my brothers and I singing occasionally, as our dad suggested that we did. There was a rule that nobody was allowed to drink on Sundays before 7 o'clock at night, and nobody was allowed to drink on Wednesdays before 7 o'clock at night. After 7 o'clock on either days, all the way throughout the week, they were allowed to drink or do whatever. And my brothers and I were too. My brothers and I started drinking when I was about 10 years old. There was alcohol always in the house. Everybody had alcohol. And next time you talk to my mom, if she tells you that she's never drank in her life, okay, whatever. See how long her nose gets. But anyway, you know what? My dad was saved by grace. My mom was saved by grace, or is saved by grace. I'm saved by grace. My brothers were both saved by grace. You know, I think about my dad often, because right after I became a Christian, actually after I moved back to Virginia, I was at prayer meeting one night, and I came home and I was talking to my dad before I found out that he was homosexual, and he was talking to me. I was like, well, what did you pray about? What were y'all learning about? And we're like, we were learning about gay people. I mean, you know what? You know, if I ever met one on the street, I'm just going to tell them they go to hell, because they are just going to go to hell. I still remember that. And it still gets me choked up. All he wanted to do, he wanted everybody to just love him. And he lived in a world that he was being blackmailed. He lived in a world that, as often as he tried to be straight, he got married to my mom. He said it's not that he didn't love her. He didn't love her like a wife, because he was gay. You know, I didn't understand that then, but I understand it now. He had children, and I'm sure he was so happy that he had us. But I know my oldest brother refused to talk to him after he left, because he told him, he said, something about you. I don't want my family being around you. And he took his child and he left. And my dad never saw them again, ever. But you know what? My dad was thinking about Kevin. He was so excited. Even up until the day he died. He loved him so much. He loved me so much. I can't go back. As many times as I told him that I loved him, I can't go back and tell him that I accepted him, regardless of, even if I knew it. I saw how people treated him, but it never dawned on me why he was being treated that way. I never understood it. My mom will say that she knew my Sunday school teacher back when I was at the other church. He knew my youth pastor knew here at KPC. So many people knew that my dad was gay, but I just loved my dad. He was my dad. And I loved him very, very much. He was an alcoholic, I knew that. Several days he'd wake up and he wouldn't know who I was, or know who my brothers were. I tell my daughters all the time, he bought me schnapps for my 18th birthday. It was a 6-pack of butterscotch schnapps. I loved it so much. Of course, back then I drank all the time. My dad loved me regardless of my disabilities, regardless of my ADHD, regardless of my autism, regardless of anything. My dad loved me. I loved him too. I just wish he realized how much. But I can't tell him. If there's somebody in your life, tell them. You may not agree with them. I can't say I would have agreed with my dad. But tell them how much you love them. Because that's all that matters. I was thinking about stuff, and I was reading 1 Timothy 1, and it talks all about how Paul talks about how he was saved by grace. Thank God he was saved by grace, because he wrote majority of the New Testament. But he talks about how he's not saved by the law, because he wasn't Jewish. I mean, he was, but he was a different type of Jewish. I can't really get into you understanding that part. The people that he witnessed to later on were very much not Jewish. They were very much Gentile. Here the Jews and the Gentiles and so on and so forth. And we're not saved by the Jewish law because we're not Jewish. Now, some of y'all that I talk to are Jewish, but again, the Jews from the Old Testament are completely different than Jews today. I'm pretty sure that you don't follow the law, and if you do, then you're not saved by grace, so you need to figure that one out for yourselves. But anyway, God saved me through faith. I'm just going to put that out there. He saved Paul, I believe, through faith. Paul believed that, he was that type of Jew that's like, okay, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to kill a bunch of people if they say they believe in Jesus Christ. God sent Jesus Christ so that he would save the world. He did not send people like Paul to go out and kill people. First off, Paul wasn't living by the law, if that's the way he was supposed to live, because he was out killing people, and that's one of the things in law, says do not kill. Well, yeah, he that's off the board completely. But anyway, he was saved by grace, and he talks about that in 1 Timothy, how he was saved by grace, and he wasn't saved by the law, he was saved by grace. But he tells us constantly that Jesus came and saved him by grace. He came and he looked at Paul and he said, okay, I'm going to save you. If you look back in history, and I know some people don't do this, but I love to go back in history, the Bible and theology and things like that. If you look back in history and everything else, the day of Paul's conversion that has it in the Bible, and the day of that Paul last killed somebody was the exact same day. So he had killed somebody right before his conversion. So, yeah, just, you can think about that a little bit. Or you can look it up if you like. It's in there. But Paul murdered people. Paul abused people. Paul manipulated people. He was a very, very vile man. But God decided, hey, I want him. I want him in my domain. I want him on my side, not on Satan's side. So he saved him by grace. And he told Paul, I'm saving you. I love you. Despite what you just did, I love you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Think about it, how awesome that is. And then I was thinking, Peter is God, Jesus' right-hand man. And Peter denied Jesus 3 times. He said he was going to do it. And he was like, no, I won't do it. But he did. And you know what? He turned around and Jesus still loved him. Jesus still accepted him. He was still part of Jesus' fold. Why? Because he was saved by grace. It wasn't by works. Because if it was, Peter would have been going to heaven. Paul would have been, hell. Paul would have gone to hell. Christy would have gone to hell. My dad would have gone to hell. My brother would have gone, everybody would have gone to hell. Because it's not by works. It's by grace. You're saved by grace. Christ gave us grace, not us. Oh, not us at all. It was his gift to us. So I'm going to skip a lot of this because it's not going to take. So after my dad was told he had to pay $2,000 a year for his entire life, he went back into the church and he tried to live his best straight life he could. But it was hard. I wish today he could have known that I loved him. I wish that he lived in today where he could felt love from other people. Because they deserve love. Everybody deserves love. You can judge the activity, but don't judge the person. I'm going to keep saying that to everybody because it irritates me when people say, yeah, well, they judged them today. Nowhere in the Bible does it say you can judge somebody. That's one thing Jesus said to I'm going to call them hypocrites, to the people in the synagogue. Don't judge people. Why are you judging people? Judge what they're doing. Don't judge them. Because only God can judge a person. Only God. He says it from Genesis. He says it all the way throughout Revelations. Only God can judge a human being. And that's what they do on the last day. When they are dead and they go to heaven, they are judged. End of story. We do not. We are not. We are not God. Thank God. He gave us a gift of grace. And he and only he can judge. And there's another reason why only he judges. Because we would judge everything. You got a tattoo, you're going to hell. You got a piercing, you're going to hell. So, Peter and Paul talked about all the things that you need to follow. Gentiles needed to follow. They needed to become circumcised, and there's a huge thing about that. Why are they being circumcised? Because they didn't believe, they weren't part of the law. They were part of being circumcised. They had all sorts of things as to, well, we're not Jews. Why would we do all this? And Peter and Paul were like, okay, you live this way or you don't live this way. You find another way where you're saved by grace as well. So that's the way they were. With Peter and Paul, everything they say in the Bible that a lot of people use for a lot of things, such as not getting tattoos, not being homosexual, not wearing, or not, in other countries, they wear hats on their head, or they have long beards. Why? That's in the Bible. It is. That's interesting. But it is. But how many of you follow it? How many of your husbands have a beard? Mine does. I know a few husbands that have a beard, but they're also Santa Clauses. I know many others that do not have beards. Many others who don't have beards. So I'm going to read you some of these things that Paul mentions in, I believe, Corinthians, Ephesians, and Philippians. So Married men need to grow out their beards. Men must cover their heads at all times except for in the place of holiness. Try to go up. Toot toot. Women should cover their ankles, shoulders, and heads. Women cover their faces if they are married. People need to stay clean from adultery, homosexuality, or any other type of sexual immorality. You need to stay away from purposely blemishing your face or any kind of blemishing your face of any kind. Many people use that as tattoos. If you look at the Bible, it also talks about putting makeup on your face. You should not allow anyone to pierce your body. How many women do you know that have pierced ears? I know many. You should not take a life. Well, some people do, some people don't. We would prefer not to take a life. Although, in my Berean, it doesn't actually say take a human life. It just says take a life. So then I got to wondering, does that mean animal life? Because I know. But anyway, let's go back. Don't take a life. Let's just end that. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't boast. Don't become drunk on wine. I'm sure that went on to whiskey and whatever else as time went on. Don't put foreign substances in your body. Okay, so I'm going to just touch on a couple of these since I have time. But I don't know about you. There might be one or two of them that I follow, but I definitely don't follow all of them. Again, we talked about the beards and the men being married and not having beards. I don't know many men that have beards. Men must cover their heads except for holy places. I know a few men that keep their heads covered. Most bald men do. My husband does because he gets burnt on his head. Women cover their ankles, shoulders, and heads. I know one, maybe two women that do that. Women that are married cover their faces. Yeah, I don't know anybody. People stay clean from adultery, homosexuality, or sexual immorality of any kind. Well, I mean, you just figure that one out on yourself. Stay away purposely from blemishing your face of any kind. And like I said in the Bible, it talks about women back then used to use the oils from plants and decorate their face. Makeup is part of that. It's not just tattoos. It is makeup. Another one is don't allow anyone to pierce any part of your body. I know a lot of people that have pierced ears. More than one hole. I know some that are pierced nose, lips, eyes, belly buttons, boobs, whatever. Tongues, chins. Oh my word. And the list goes on. I've seen them all. So, yeah, we all pretty much off that one. Don't take a life. Well, we've talked about that. Don't steal. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to steal all the time. I don't know that I've done it. But anyway. Don't lie. I lie to my mom all the time because she has dementia. I don't know if that counts. Don't boast. I boast all the time, and I'm sure you do too. I'm sure a lot of people do, especially Christians. Christians are horrible when it comes to boasting. We're so much better than everybody else, right? No. You're not. We're not. Don't become drunk on wine. Well, I'm definitely lost on that one. Don't put foreign substances in your body. Now, if you look this up, this is a very interesting one. I know so many people. My oldest brother was one of these people. They did not go to pharmacies. Why? Because those are chemical drugs. They are chemical things. They are foreign substances. And yes, it does say to the Bible, do not put it in your body. However, I need you to understand something. Yes, it says do not do all of this stuff. But Paul has said it over and over again in his verses. At the very beginning, when he starts talking, he says, if you're going to follow it all. Don't pick and choose. Follow everything on that list. Don't pick and choose. Or don't follow any of it. That's what he says. He says that because he knows that so many people are going to pick and choose, and they do. And that is why grace is a gift from God, because Christ, Jesus, and God, the three in one, knows that you and me are going to pick and choose what we want from the Bible to make it holy. We are going to judge people because we don't see them as holy in our eyes. That is why grace is a gift from God. I cannot stress that anymore. Why do I believe that my dad is going to heaven? Because he was saved by grace. I am going to heaven. I was saved by grace. You are going to heaven. Why? Because you are saved by grace. It is not because of something you did. It is not because you're the most holy one of all. It is not because you read the Bible every day. It is not because you go to church and you dress up and, oh, you're praising God. It is not because you stand on a box top and you praise God and you tell everybody that they're going to go to hell and you're going to go to heaven because you're just that perfect. You're not perfect. You are not perfect. You are saved by grace. Grace. That is what saves us. So before you look at these scriptures in this Bible and you pick and choose what you want to listen to God. Listen to Jesus Christ. Find out directly from him. What is grace? My brother molested me and he raped me all throughout my young life. By grace, he is in heaven. He never said he was sorry. Never. As angry as that made me, as angry as I got, because I did not feel like he had the right to go to heaven. It is not my choice. That was God. Jesus saved my brother by grace. That is how he is going to heaven. The woman that lives down the street from me, who calls me daughter occasionally or tells people that she doesn't like her daughter, she's going to heaven because she is saved by grace. It is not of you. You are not saving anybody. And I hope you're not judging anybody. Judge their works. Don't judge them. Leave that up to God. You are saved by grace. And grace is a gift from God.